Have you ever sensed that the universe is quietly waiting to bless you? Book of Spiritual Blessing reveals how your thoughts and feelings act as seeds, shaping every circumstance in your life. Abundance is not something to chase. It is the reflection of your awakened inner state. Are you ready to step into the power you've always carried? Book of Spiritual Blessing. Introduction. In the vast ocean of creation, your thoughts ripple outward like waves upon infinite waters. Each wave touches distant shores unseen, yet their arrival is as certain as the turning of the tide. This is no random chance, but the orchestration of universal law, revealed to you precisely when your consciousness is ready to perceive it. The law of attraction moves with perfect precision, responding not to idle wishes, but to the living vibration of your being. Manifestation is not an act of asking, it is the art of becoming. Your outer world mirrors your inner state, reflecting back with flawless fidelity the truths you hold within. A power has always flowed through you, whether recognized or not. Every circumstance, joy, and challenge has been drawn to you by the magnetic resonance of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. This knowledge does not burden, it frees, revealing that possibility has always been within reach. Your awakening is signaled not by arrival, but by recognition, a remembrance of your innate creative essence. The universe has never withheld its abundance. Your consciousness has simply aligned to receive it. Like a radio finding its station, your frequency now resonates with the broadcast of eternal wisdom. This alignment marks the beginning of conscious creation. Your thoughts are seeds sown in the fertile soil of the cosmos. Your attention and emotional energy nurture them, while your faith, steady and knowing, provides the light in which they grow. You stand not at a new destination, but at the center of your own power, eyes open to the truth you have always carried. You are the architect of your reality, and the universe has been waiting for your recognition. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening Path. Chapter 1. The Whisper of Beginning. In a quiet corner of an ancient library, where sunlight filtered through dust-laden air, Maeve O'Sullivan discovered a yellowed note tucked between the of a forgotten tome. Her trembling fingers unfolded the paper, revealing words that seemed written for her alone. "Joy comes when you know yourself worthy of it." The universe speaks in whispers, and this message reached Maeve at precisely the moment her soul was prepared to receive it. For years, she had arranged her life carefully, building walls of safety that also became barriers to possibility. Each book she catalogued represented an adventure she dared not take, a life she admired but feared to live. This principle flows through all creation. Your life reflects not your desires, but your deepest convictions about what you deserve. Like attracts like, not in the realm of wishes, but in the domain of belief. The outer world mirrors your inner certainty with perfect precision. Consider the garden of Declan O'Rourke. While others saw only a modest plot of earth, Declan nurtured each seedling with absolute faith in nature's abundance. He spoke to his plants not with desperate hope, but with serene knowing. His hands moved through the soil with reverence, each gesture an affirmation of life's generosity. When autumn came, Declan's harvest exceeded all expectation. Vegetables grew larger and more plentiful than anyone had seen. Neighbors marveled at his methods, but Declan simply smiled, understanding that his garden responded not to technique, but to his unwavering trust in abundance. This wisdom speaks through both stories. What you believe about yourself becomes the measure of your experience. The universe matches your self-concept with mathematical precision. When you know yourself worthy of goodness, life aligns to confirm this truth. Your readiness for abundance begins with accepting your inherent worth, not through effort or striving, but through gentle recognition of what has always been true. Sacred practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, create a sanctuary of peace in your mind. Let your breath flow naturally, and with each exhalation, whisper to yourself, "I am ready for good things." Continue until the words shift from declaration to knowing, until you feel truth settling into your bones. Let this be your final thought as consciousness gives way to dreams, planting seeds in fertile soil of the infinite. Chapter 2. Faith Before Form. Think of Connor Murphy, who understood that creation begins in the mind's eye. Each evening, as the world settled into silence, he would sit at his weathered desk and sketch houses, not the modest dwellings he could presently afford, but the grand visions that danced in his imagination. His pencil traced elegant archways, sweeping staircases, and sun-filled rooms where future memories waited to be born. You see, the universe responds not to what your hands can grasp today, but to what your spirit holds as truth. Every line Connor drew became a declaration to the infinite, every detail a seed planted in fertile cosmic soil. He did not simply draw houses, he drafted possibilities into being. The law speaks clearly on this matter. Thought precedes manifestation, just as the architect's vision precedes the foundation's first stone. Your imagination is not mere fantasy, it is the blueprint from which the universal mind constructs reality. Consider Cassidy Flynn, who discovered this truth through her own sacred ritual. Each morning, before the world stirred from its slumber, she would stand before her art supplies with reverence. Taking each brush in hand, she blessed them as ancient instruments of creation. "Through you," she would whisper, "miracles flow into form." What others saw as simple paintbrushes, Cassidy recognized as wands of manifestation. Her canvases became portals through which the unseen stepped into visibility. Soon her artwork began to sell with an ease that others called magical. Yet it was simply the natural outcome of her unwavering belief. The power you witness in these stories dwells equally within you. Every thought you maintain with emotional certainty becomes a mold into which universal energy flows. Your beliefs are not passive wishes, they are active instructions to the field of infinite possibility. Now, let us turn this wisdom into practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and bring to mind one desire that burns in your heart. See it not as a distant hope, but as an accomplished fact. Feel the relief and gratitude that naturally arise when something long awaited has finally come to pass. Let your entire being resonate with the certainty that the universe has already nodded yes to your desire. This is not mere visualization. It is the sacred act of aligning your inner frequency with that which you wish to attract. What you feel as real in consciousness must, by universal law, emerge into physical form. Chapter 3. The Mirror Within. In the heart of every reflection lies a doorway to transformation. This truth revealed itself to Patrick O'Connell one autumn morning as he stood before his bathroom mirror, rehearsing his usual litany of self-criticism. For years, he had greeted his reflection with harsh words about his appearance, his achievements, his worth. Yet on this particular dawn, as sunlight streamed through frosted glass, he witnessed something remarkable. In that moment of clarity, he saw not just his image, but the very act of judgment itself. The universe speaks through such moments of recognition. Patrick realized he hadn't been seeing reality. He had been practicing perception. Each morning's criticism had been a ritual, not of truth-telling, but of reality creation. The mirror showed him not facts, but faith. Faith in limitation, faith in lack, faith in unworthiness. And this faith had manifested accordingly in his experiences. What you perceive, you project. What you project, you perpetuate. This is the sacred mechanism by which consciousness shapes reality. The mirror is merely a tool. It is your gaze that holds the power. Consider Moira Fitzpatrick, whose small cafe in a quiet street corner taught this principle through simple acts of grace. Each morning, as dawn painted the windows gold, she would polish her teacups until they gleamed. But Moira did more than clean. She transformed this mundane task into a ceremony of appreciation. Into each shining surface, she whispered words of gratitude. Thank you for bringing joy. Thank you for gathering hearts. Thank you for sharing warmth. What appeared to others as ordinary teacups became vessels of blessing under her attention, and something extraordinary began to unfold. Her daily income tripled, not through marketing or price changes, but through the alchemy of appreciation. Customers spoke of feeling unusually uplifted in her cafe, though they couldn't explain why. The light she had poured into those reflective surfaces returned multiplied, proving that what we offer to our reflections comes back to us in waves of manifestation. This principle operates in your life with unwavering precision. Every mirror you pass, every window you glimpse yourself in, every still pool that captures your image, these are not mere surfaces, but portals of power. They reflect not just your physical form, but your relationship with existence itself. The ancient practice. When you catch your own reflection today, in mirrors, windows, or still waters, pause for a moment of sacred recognition. Rather than defaulting to judgment, meet your image as an ally. Silently offer a blessing to what you see. I honor the light within you. You are worthy of all good things. Thank you for being. Watch as this practice transforms not just your reflection, but your entire experience of reality. For in blessing your reflection, you bless the very force that creates through you. Chapter 4. The Alignment of Desire. In the stillness of dawn, when the world holds its breath between night and day, lives a truth as old as time itself. Your reflection shows not what you are, but what you believe. Within the sacred chamber of your heart dwells a mirror, one that shapes the very essence of your reality. Once, in a village among rolling hills, lived Fiona Donnelly, whose dreams whispered like leaves in the wind, too soft for her own ears to hear. Each morning she would wake with visions of speaking to thousands, sharing wisdom that could lift hearts and transform lives. Yet each morning she would push these visions aside, believing them too grand, too presumptuous for someone like her. Who am I to dream so large? She would ask her reflection. shrinking her light until it barely flickered. But the universe speaks in mysterious ways, and when we refuse to hear its whispers, it finds other voices to reach us. First came the butterfly that landed on her journal as she wrote, its wings painted with eye-like patterns that seemed to gaze into her soul. Then the repeated number sequences, 111, 444, 777, appearing everywhere she looked. Even the wind seemed to carry messages, rustling to reveal exactly the words she needed to read. These divine nudges persisted until Fiona could no longer deny their meaning. Her desires were not random thoughts, but sacred seeds planted by the universe itself. The very presence of these dreams within her heart was proof of her readiness to fulfill them. In the same village lived Eamon Hanley, a musician who discovered this truth through melody. Where others saw empty stages, he heard applause. While practicing alone, he filled the silence with the music of his future success. Instead of doubting, he began humming his dreams into existence, letting each note carry the vibration of certainty. Gradually, people started gathering wherever he played. One became 2, became 10, became hundreds. Not because his music had changed, but because his inner song had aligned with the universe's symphony. His faith had created a magnetic field that drew others into its orbit. These stories mirror an eternal truth. What flows through your mind flows through your life. Every desire that stirs within you is a divine conversation, a sacred dialogue between your soul and the infinite. Your wanting is not vanity. It is the universe speaking through you, marking the path to your highest expression. The practice. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Close your eyes and bring to mind your deepest wish, the one that both thrills and frightens you. Draw this desire into your breath, inhaling its essence as though it were golden light. As you hold this wish in your heart, speak these words with gentle power. This is holy inside me. Let your craving transform into calm certainty, knowing that your desires are divine seeds planted in fertile soil. Repeat this practice until you feel your wish settle into peaceful acceptance within your being. Chapter 5. Allowing the Flow. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant stood arranging her wares with meticulous precision. Her name was Bridget O'Rourke, and she believed success came only through rigid control. Each morning she would rise before the sun, planning every moment of her day with exhausting detail. Her shop gleamed with an unnatural perfection, yet her heart felt heavy with the weight of constant vigilance. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. When Bridget's body finally surrendered to exhaustion, forcing her to rest, she discovered a profound truth. Confined to her bed, she watched through her window as autumn leaves danced in the wind. No leaf struggled against its path, yet each found its perfect landing place. In her stillness, she began to see how life had always supported her, even when she fought against its natural flow. You see, the great law works not through force, but through allowing. When you release your grip on outcomes, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your limited vision. The universe holds wisdom far greater than any human planning could devise. This truth manifested clearly in the tale of Liam Donnelly, who managed a small trading company. For years he had grasped tightly at every decision, every transaction, believing his vigilance alone kept the business afloat. Exhausted from carrying this burden, he finally loosened his hold. To his amazement, opportunities began flowing effortlessly. A chance meeting led to an unexpected partnership. A missed appointment resulted in a more profitable connection. Without his desperate orchestration, life's natural rhythm created harmonies he could never have planned. These stories teach us that surrender is not defeat. It is alignment with the greater flow of existence. The universe does not require your strain and struggle. It asks only for your trust, your openness to receive. When you find yourself pushing against life's current, remember, the same force that guides stars through the cosmos can direct your path. Your role is not to force the river's flow, but to navigate its waters with grace and faith. Ancient wisdom reminds us, that which is meant for you will not pass you by. This truth liberates you from the exhausting illusion of control. Your destiny unfolds not through force, but through faith. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into a comfortable position. Take 3 deep breaths, and with each exhale, release something you've been gripping too tightly. A worry, a plan, an expectation. Now close your eyes and envision yourself floating in a gentle river. Feel how the water supports you without effort. Let your body soften as you imagine life carrying you forward, trusting that the current knows exactly where to take you. Stay in this peaceful surrender for several minutes, allowing yourself to experience the lightness of letting go. Chapter 6. The Frequency of Joy. In the dawn hours of an ordinary morning, a merchant named Shane walked through the marketplace, his shoulders bent under invisible burdens. For years he had followed the same rigid path, opening his shop at sunrise, counting his inventory with precision, and closing only when the last customer departed. Success had come, yet joy remained distant, like a bird watching from afar. One morning, as the sun painted the sky in gentle hues, a child's ball rolled into his carefully arranged display. Instead of his usual frown, something stirred within Shane. The sight of the young one's worried face cracked through his stern facade, and genuine laughter bubbled up from deep within his being. That simple moment of authentic joy shifted something in the fabric of his world. In the days that followed, his shop transformed. Customers lingered longer, coins flowed more freely, and even his wares seemed to sparkle with renewed vitality. The universe had responded not to his striving, but to his surrender into joy. The wisdom whispers, when you release the grip of control, life flows naturally toward abundance. Your joy is a beacon that attracts matching frequencies of grace. In a village not far away lived Neve, whose garden had grown wild with neglect after loss dimmed her spirit. Her aging dog, gray around the muzzle, watched her daily routine with patient eyes. One evening, as the setting sun cast long shadows, a forgotten melody drifted through her window. Without thought, she began to sway, and her faithful companion rose to join her. As Neve danced with her old friend in the overgrown yard, something ancient and powerful stirred in the air around them. Tears of release flowed freely down her cheeks as she moved in pure, unbound joy. Within days, her garden burst into unexpected bloom. A neighbor offered help with repairs she couldn't afford, and opportunities appeared as naturally as flowers turning toward the sun. These stories illuminate a fundamental truth. Joy is not the reward for manifestation. It is the catalyst. When you align with the frequency of delight, you speak the universe's native tongue. Your pleasure is not frivolous. It is the very current that carries miracles to your shore. Ancient practice. As the sun rises tomorrow, pause in your morning routine. Close your eyes and summon one memory that brings an involuntary smile to your lips. It might be a moment of pure laughter with a friend, the touch of summer rain on your skin, or the taste of your favorite childhood treat. Let this feeling wash through your being, not as a passing thought, but as a living vibration. Carry this energy with you like a lantern, allowing its light to guide each step. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the frequency you emanate. Let joy be your offering, and watch as life mirrors back its magical response. Chapter 7. The Art of Trust. The rhythm of life pulses with an eternal truth. Joy is not a destination, but the very frequency through which miracles flow. This wisdom reveals itself through the experiences of those who have walked before you on this sacred path. There lived a woman named Siobhan Kelly, whose days were mapped with precision. Each morning, she would unfold her carefully crafted plans, checking boxes and measuring progress against rigid timelines. Yet, despite her meticulous efforts, her desires seemed to drift further away. The more she grasped, the more life appeared to slip through her fingers like grains of sand. Until one evening, exhausted from the weight of control, Siobhan surrendered. In that moment of release, she acknowledged a truth that had whispered beneath her consciousness. She had never truly trusted the greater plan unfolding around her. As tears of recognition flowed, something shifted. The universe, ever patient, began moving through the spaces her surrender had created. Opportunities appeared effortlessly, blessings arrived unexpectedly, and life danced to a rhythm far more graceful than her careful calculations had allowed. This truth echoes in the tale of Rory Callahan, who ventured into the ancient woods one autumn morning. His backpack held a detailed map marking every turn and landmark of his intended journey. Yet, as fate would have it, the map slipped away, carried off by a playful breeze. Initially, panic rose in his chest. How would he find his way? But in the absence of his planned route, something remarkable occurred. Each step seemed guided by an invisible hand. The path revealed itself naturally, a clearing here, a marker there, as if the forest itself conspired to lead him home. Without his map, Rory discovered a deeper navigation system, one that had always existed within and around him. These stories illuminate a fundamental principle. Joy flows not from rigid control, but from sacred trust. When you release your grip on how life should unfold, you align with the natural current of creation. The universe operates through a wisdom far greater than human planning. It moves through the channels of trust and surrender. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and imagine the next hour of your life held in unseen, loving hands. Feel the weight of control dissolving as you exhale deeply. With each breath, release the need to orchestrate every detail. Simply sigh in relief, knowing that forces greater than yourself are guiding your path. Let this surrender become your strength, for in releasing control, you open to the joy that naturally flows when you trust the greater plan. Chapter 8. Receiving without guilt. Long ago, in a bustling marketplace, Colleen O'Shea sold hand-woven tapestries, each thread spun with exceptional skill. When customers praised her work, she would lower her eyes and dismiss their words. "It's nothing special," she would say, or "anyone could do this." Each time someone attempted to pay her true worth, she would reduce her prices, believing it wrong to receive abundance for her gifts. In her heart, Colleen carried an ancient misunderstanding, that receiving was somehow a form of taking from others. This belief cast a shadow over her prosperity, like clouds dimming the sun's natural radiance. The universe's flow became restricted, for she had forgotten that receiving is as sacred as giving. One morning, as she arranged her stall, an old woman touched one of her tapestries and gasped in wonder. Instead of deflecting the praise, something within Colleen shifted. She allowed herself to witness the joy her work brought to others. In that moment, she understood. By refusing to receive, she had been denying others the blessing of giving. This truth transformed her relationship with abundance. She began to see that receiving was not selfish. It was part of life's natural rhythm, like breath moving in and out, like tides rising and falling. When she finally opened herself to receiving, her entire world transformed. In a village not far from there lived Aidan Flanagan, a gifted musician who once turned away from every expression of appreciation. He would wave off applause, reject payment, and dismiss recognition. But as he learned to accept praise with grace, his music grew richer, touching more hearts. The more he allowed himself to receive, the more his gifts multiplied, creating a circle of endless blessing. Through accepting, he discovered that receiving creates space for more giving. Like a vessel that must be filled before it can pour, his acceptance of abundance allowed him to serve others more fully. Your resistance to receiving may wear many masks: unworthiness, fear, or misplaced virtue. Yet the universe seeks balance in all things. When you block the flow of receiving, you interrupt the sacred dance of give and take that sustains all life. Sacred practice. When kindness approaches, welcome it like fresh air through an open window, feeling its reciprocity. Let each breath remind you that receiving is not taking, it is participating in the eternal flow of life's abundance. As you inhale, accept the gift of air freely given. As you exhale, know that this exchange is perfect and complete. Chapter 9. The Language of Energy. In the quiet corners of an ancient marketplace, Kieran Doyle's voice echoed with discontent. Each morning brought new grievances: the weather too harsh, the crowds too thick, the profits too meager. With every utterance of displeasure, his circumstances seemed to mirror his words, spiraling deeper into shadow. Until one dawn, when silence found him. It began with a simple observation. The days he spoke less, fortune smiled more. His wares, precious gems and metals, sparkled brighter in their wooden cases when he withheld his complaints. Customers lingered longer in the peaceful atmosphere of his stall. The universe, it seemed, was teaching him the sacred alchemy of words. Your words carry the power of creation itself. Each syllable sends ripples through the fabric of existence, drawing to you experiences that match their frequency. When you speak of lack, lack expands. When you voice discord, chaos multiplies. Yet in the spaces between words, in the sacred pause of mindful silence, infinite potential awaits. The law of attraction responds not only to your thoughts, but to the vibration of your spoken word. Your voice becomes the bridge between inner vision and outer manifestation. Every utterance is a seed planted in the fertile soil of possibility. Consider Eowulf Murphy, who discovered this truth through an inspired practice. Each evening, she would write letters of gratitude addressed to her future self, thanking the universe for blessings not yet visible to mortal eyes. "Thank you for the abundance that flows effortlessly into my life," she would write. "Thank you for the joy that fills my days." Within weeks, her present reality began shifting to match her written declarations of appreciation. Opportunities appeared as if summoned by her grateful words. Relationships deepened, prosperity expanded, and joy multiplied, all because she chose to speak to tomorrow with the language of thankfulness. The universe mirrors back to you the essence of your expression. Like an infinite echo chamber, it amplifies and returns whatever vibration you send forth. Your words are prayers, whether conscious or unconscious, and the world reshapes itself to answer them. The practice of sacred speech. Choose one moment today to speak with deliberate gentleness. Let your words flow from a place of conscious awareness, feeling their vibration resonate through the air. Notice how this single act of mindful speech creates ripples of harmony that extend far beyond your immediate perception. In this practice lies the seed of transformation. For as you change the quality of your expression, you alter the very fabric of your reality. Chapter 10. The Doorway to Presence. In the heart of a bustling city, a tale unfolds of Deirdre O'Connell, whose days stretched like endless threads through time. Each morning she wove tapestries of tasks, appointments, and obligations, rushing from one moment to the next without pause. Her calendar burst with commitments, her phone buzzed incessantly, and her mind raced ahead to tomorrow's concerns. The universe speaks in whispers, and its most precious messages often arrive in the spaces between breaths. For Deirdre, this wisdom revealed itself on an autumn afternoon when her young daughter's laughter floated through an open window. The sound stopped her in mid-stride, frozen between tasks, as she realized she couldn't remember the last time she had truly heard that melody of joy. This moment of recognition opened a door within her soul. The ache that followed wasn't of regret, but of awakening. In that stillness, she discovered that life's treasures aren't found in the rushing stream of endless doing, but in the quiet pools of being. The law of attraction responds not to our motion, but to our presence. When you pause to inhabit each moment fully, the universe mirrors this completeness back to you in countless ways. Your energy aligns with the natural rhythm of creation, and abundance flows not from striving, but from allowing. This truth found expression in the story of Brian Kavanagh, whose small bookshop had consumed every waking hour. For years he remained open late into the evening, believing that extra time meant extra prosperity. His days stretched longer, while his joy grew shorter, until one evening, something within him whispered, "Enough." That day he turned the sign to "Closed" at the appointed hour. He walked home as the sun painted the sky in hues he had forgotten existed. The next morning he opened his shop with renewed energy, and a curious thing occurred. His customers sensed the change. They lingered longer, smiled more freely, and returned more frequently. His business flourished not through extended hours, but through the quality of presence he now brought to each interaction. These stories reveal a fundamental truth. The present moment holds all the power of creation. When you resist now, you resist the very source of abundance. When you embrace now, you embrace the infinite potential that exists in every breath. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Settle into your chair or cushion, allowing your body to relax naturally. Take 3 deep breaths, sensing the air as it enters and leaves your body. Notice the scents around you, perhaps the lingering aroma of morning coffee, the freshness after rain, or simply the clean air you breathe. As you inhale, whisper softly to yourself, "This moment is enough." As you exhale, feel the truth of those words in your body. Remain here for several minutes, allowing each breath to anchor you more deeply in the now. Part 2. The Transforming Journey. Chapter 11. The Shadow Knows Your Name. Along a winding path in an ancient grove, Darcy O'Keefe watched others succeed while something dark twisted in her heart. Each achievement of those around her felt like a personal slight, each celebration a reminder of her own perceived inadequacy. She called it drive, ambition, the fire of competition. Yet beneath these noble names lurked a shadow that consumed more than it created. The law of attraction responds not to the masks we wear, but to the energy we embody. When jealousy masquerades as motivation, it attracts more reasons to feel insufficient, rather than the success it claims to seek. The universe mirrors back not our pretenses, but our truths. For Darcy, transformation began the moment she recognized that her jealousy was not her enemy, but a misguided protector, trying to shield her from the pain of unworthiness. In acknowledging this, the shadow's grip began to loosen, revealing that what she truly sought was not others' failure, but her own acceptance. This wisdom echoes in the tale of Niall O'Brien, whose fear of inadequacy haunted every creative endeavor. Rather than pushing these shadows away, he began a curious practice, writing letters to his fears as though addressing old friends. "Dear fear of failure," he would write, "I understand you're trying to keep me safe." With each letter, something shifted. The fears didn't vanish, but transformed, like ink dissolving in water. You see, darkness doesn't seek destruction. It seeks integration. Those parts of yourself that you judge most harshly are often carrying wounds that need your compassion, not your condemnation. The law of attraction responds powerfully to this inner alchemy, for when you transmute judgment into acceptance, you align with the universe's natural flow of healing. When you meet your shadows with tenderness, they reveal themselves as teachers in disguise. Each flaw contains a lesson, each fear holds a gift, and each moment of darkness offers an opportunity for deeper light. This is not mere spiritual poetry. It is practical magic, for what you resist persists, but what you embrace transforms. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment as twilight approaches. Sit in gentle silence and bring to mind one aspect of yourself that you typically criticize. Rather than pushing it away, imagine this flaw as a small, confused child trying its best to protect you. Softly whisper to it, "Thank you for trying to protect me." Notice any sensations in your body as you offer this acknowledgement. Let your voice carry genuine gratitude, understanding that even your shadows have served a purpose. Repeat this whispered thank you until you feel a subtle shift, a softening around the edges of what once felt hard and unforgiving. Allow this practice to remind you that transformation begins with acceptance. and that even the darkest parts of yourself respond to the light of compassion. Chapter 12. Forgive to be free. In a small cottage by the sea, Eileen Walsh kept her resentments polished like precious jewels. Each slight, each betrayal, each moment of pain she had collected over the years hung heavy around her neck, invisible to others, but weighing upon her heart with unmistakable gravity. She believed these memories protected her, kept her wise to the ways of the world. Yet the universe holds a different wisdom. That which you refuse to release binds you. Through the eternal laws that govern all creation, every thought of bitterness sends ripples through the field of possibility, attracting more experiences that match its frequency. Your resentments become anchors, holding you in place while life's river flows past. This truth revealed itself to Eileen one stormy evening when the weight became too much to bear. In that moment of surrender, she discovered that forgiveness was not about condoning past actions, but about freeing herself from their continued power. As the chains of resentment began to crack, light poured through the fissures. Her breath deepened, her shoulders relaxed, and opportunities that had seemed locked away suddenly appeared before her. The law of attraction responds not to what you say you want, but to the energy you hold within. When Eileen released her grip on old wounds, the universe rushed to fill those spaces with fresh possibilities. This principle manifested with equal power in the life of Owen Tierney, who had kept meticulous records of every debt owed to him, both financial and emotional. His ledger of unpaid favors and unacknowledged kindnesses had become a burden heavier than any wealth he might have collected. Then one morning, moved by an inner whisper of wisdom, he began crossing off these debts one by one. With each line drawn through a name, his heart grew lighter. What Owen discovered was a paradox of universal law. Releasing others from obligation creates space for abundance to flow. As he freed others from their debts, unexpected channels of prosperity opened before him. His business flourished, relationships deepened, and opportunities multiplied. Not because he had demanded what was owed, but because he had aligned himself with the natural flow of giving and receiving. Ancient practice. In the quiet of evening, settle into a comfortable position. Bring to mind one name that causes tension in your chest, someone whose memory carries the weight of unresolved pain. Without forcing forgiveness or denying your feelings, simply breathe deeply while holding their image in your mind. With each inhale, draw in the light of compassion. With each exhale, release the grip of resentment. Continue until you feel the emotional charge begin to neutralize, remembering that this practice serves your freedom rather than theirs. Let each breath carry you closer to the lightness that awaits on the other side of release. Chapter 13. The Power of Choice. In the heart of an ancient market town, Erin Callahan stood frozen before life's crossroads, attributing her stagnation to the whims of destiny. Each morning she would gaze at the empty walls of her apartment, waiting for signs to guide her next move. "When the time is right," she would whisper, "fate will show me the way." Yet as seasons passed, the walls remained bare, and her dreams gathered dust like forgotten treasures in an abandoned attic. One autumn evening, as golden light filtered through her window, Erin discovered an old chest containing her grandmother's journal. Within its weathered, she found wisdom that shattered her illusions. The universe speaks through our choices, not our hesitation. Each moment of indecision is itself a choice to remain unchanged. These words stirred something deep within her soul. She realized that by waiting for fate's permission, she had been choosing stasis all along. With trembling hands, she picked up a paintbrush that same evening and began covering her walls with vibrant colors, no longer waiting for tomorrow's approval. As the paint dried, so too did her tears of liberation. Each stroke represented a decision reclaimed from the fog of someday. The universe, ever faithful to inner transformation, began responding to her newfound clarity with swift precision. In the neighboring village lived Padraig Dunn, a craftsman who had mastered the art of postponement. "I'll celebrate when the work is done," he would say, storing his joy in tomorrow's promise. His workshop overflowed with unfinished projects, each one waiting for the perfect moment of completion. Until one morning, gazing at a half-carved wooden bird, Padraig understood that perfection lived in presence, not postponement. He began whistling while he worked, no longer saving happiness for future achievements. As his joy filled the workshop, customers started appearing as if drawn by the music of his contentment. Orders flowed effortlessly, and opportunities emerged at every turn, as though luck itself had been waiting for his permission to dance. The ancient mystics whispered that choice is the chisel that shapes reality's clay. Through Aaron and Padraig's awakening, we glimpse this timeless truth. Conscious decision carries the power to rotate the world upon its axis, aligning circumstances with our inner state. Sacred practice. When tension arises, in traffic, during difficult conversations, or amid life's storms, speak these words aloud. I choose peace. Watch as reality gently shifts to mirror your choice, for in claiming your power to choose, you awaken the universe's endless capacity to respond. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. Rewriting the Script of the Mind. In the depths of your consciousness lies a truth waiting to emerge. The power of choice orchestrates the symphony of your existence. Like countless others before you, this wisdom reveals itself through those who have walked the path of transformation. Kathleen Dwyer sat before her mirror each morning, her reflection clouded by the mist of self-doubt. "You're not ready," whispered the familiar voice within. "Who are you to dream so boldly?" But one dawn, as sunlight streamed through her window, she noticed how this inner dialogue had become a practiced ritual of limitation. In that moment of awareness, she reached for her journal and began a new practice. For every doubt that arose, she wrote its opposite in golden ink. "I am prepared," she declared. "My dreams flow through me as divine intention." Within weeks, her world shifted like leaves turning toward light. Opportunities appeared as naturally as breath, each one a reflection of her renewed inner dialogue. Through Kathleen's transformation, you glimpse the first principle of conscious creation. Thought patterns are not chains, but channels, ready to carry new currents of possibility. Then comes the tale of Fergus Sheehan, whose small bookshop teetered on the edge of closure. Each evening, as he counted the day's meager earnings, his mind spun stories of lack. But wisdom whispered a simple truth. Every receipt held space for new intentions. He began writing affirmations on the back of each day's final receipt. Abundance flows freely through these doors. Each customer finds exactly what they seek. This space serves as a beacon of knowledge and joy. The universe, ever responsive to clear intention, began orchestrating a remarkable shift. Customers appeared with precise requests, finding treasures among his carefully curated shelves. The space between his thoughts and reality grew shorter, until prosperity became as natural as turning in a beloved book. Sacred practice. As twilight approaches, find a quiet moment. Listen to the thoughts flowing through your mind. When you catch a limiting belief arising, that subtle voice of doubt or fear, pause. Take a deep breath. On a piece of paper, write the thought exactly as it appears. Then, with deliberate care, craft its opposite in words that resonate with truth and love. Speak this new thought aloud 3 times, feeling its vibration align with your highest good. This practice, passed down through ages of wisdom, transmutes the lead of limitation into the gold of possibility. Chapter 15. The Gift of Surrender. The ancient wisdom keepers understood a truth that modern life often obscures. In the spaces between our plans, the universe weaves its most magnificent tapestry. This sacred knowledge unfolds through the story of transformation that awaits you now. In the heart of a bustling city, Claire McKenna's carefully constructed world dissolved in a single morning. The office she had devoted 12 years to announced its closure, and her position, along with her meticulously planned future, vanished like morning mist. For weeks, she gripped tighter to control, sending countless resumes and making desperate calls. Each met with silence. Then one afternoon, exhausted from the struggle, she stopped, simply stopped. In that moment of complete surrender, something shifted. The tension in her shoulders melted away, and for the first time, she felt the embrace of the infinite. No longer fighting against life's current, Claire discovered a peculiar peace in the unknown. Within this space of acceptance, opportunities began appearing, not as she had imagined, but as gifts she could never have planned. The universe speaks through such moments of apparent loss, revealing that our perceived setbacks are actually gateways to grace. This truth manifested powerfully through Ronan Hayes, whose life had become an endless calculation of probabilities and outcomes. Each decision paralyzed him with analysis, his mind constantly churning through scenarios and consequences. Until the day his young daughter asked, "Why do you always look worried, Papa?" Her innocent question pierced his armor of control. That evening, Ronan set aside his planning journals and spreadsheets. He began each morning with a simple acknowledgement: the universe knows the way. Rather than dissecting every possibility, he learned to trust the natural unfolding of events. Remarkably, as Ronan released his grip on outcomes, life began flowing with unprecedented ease. Business opportunities appeared at precisely the right moments. Connections formed effortlessly. What once required intense strategizing now manifested through divine timing. These stories whisper an ageless truth. When you release the weight of control, the universe's infinite wisdom can work through you. In moments of uncertainty, remember that surrender is not defeat. It is the doorway to divine orchestration. Practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and bring to mind whatever feels heavy in your life right now. With each breath, whisper softly, "Take this, universe. allowing yourself to feel invisible hands lifting the burden from your shoulders. Let the weight of trying to control everything dissolve into trust, knowing that the universe holds your highest good in its infinite wisdom. Chapter 16. Gratitude as Alchemy. High in an old stone building, a woman sits at her kitchen table surrounded by stacks of bills. Molly Finnegan's hands tremble as she reaches for her ledger, but instead of counting debts, she pauses. A shaft of sunlight streams through her window, warming her face. In that golden moment, she remembers her grandmother's teaching. Count your blessings first, child, and watch how they multiply. Taking a deep breath, Molly pushes aside the bills. She begins to list her treasures: the roof above her head, the morning light, her daughter's laughter echoing from the next room, the aroma of fresh bread from the bakery below. With each blessing acknowledged, her shoulders relax. That evening, an unexpected letter arrives containing a forgotten inheritance from a distant aunt. Within the core of surrender lies an ancient truth. What you focus upon expands. When attention shifts from lack to abundance, the universe responds in kind. Like water finding its natural course, prosperity flows toward gratitude's magnetic pull. This is not mere coincidence, but cosmic law, as timeless as the stars and as natural as breath. In the quiet corners of a busy trading firm, Dermot Malloy discovered this wisdom through an unlikely practice. Before each meeting, he would pause in his office, close his eyes, and whisper words of thanks. At first, his colleagues raised eyebrows at these moments of stillness. Yet as weeks passed, they noticed how tension seemed to dissolve whenever they gathered in his presence. Deals that once sparked conflict now concluded in harmony. Resources appeared precisely when needed. His gratitude created an invisible bridge between scarcity and abundance. These stories illuminate a forgotten truth. Surrender is not defeat, but rather the gateway to grace. When you release your grip on worry, you free your hands to receive. The universe operates through this paradox. In letting go, you gain everything. Sacred practice. As darkness wraps around each day, take a moment of quiet reflection. Find one small detail you might typically overlook. Perhaps the way shadows dance on your wall, or how your tea leaves settle in perfect spirals. Thank the unseen forces that orchestrated this tiny miracle. Let gratitude be the last light in your consciousness before sleep claims you. Watch how this practice transforms your mornings, filling them with an ease that defies explanation. For in appreciation of the smallest gifts, you open the door to life's grandest blessings. Chapter 17. The Lesson of Contrast. In the quiet dawn, a simple note rests upon your table. When shadows deepen, light grows brighter still. This wisdom, passed through generations, holds the key to understanding life's essential rhythm. A merchant once wandered the ancient streets, her hopes dimming with each setback. Aisling Byrne carried her dreams in a worn leather satchel, watching others succeed while her own ventures faltered. Each morning brought fresh challenges until the weight of repeated disappointment bent her shoulders. Yet within this valley of shadow lay a treasure waiting to be uncovered. As you now discover, the universe speaks through contrast. Just as an artist needs both light and dark to create depth, your soul requires contrast to sharpen its knowing. Through each closed door, Aisling's vision of what she truly desired grew clearer. The no she received from investors refined her business plan. The empty shop that eluded her led to a better location. What appeared as obstacles were actually divine adjustments, each one honing her path. Contrast serves as the great awakener. When you taste bitterness, sweetness becomes more precious. When you walk through darkness, you learn to trust the dawn. These are not punishments, but preparations, the universe's way of crystallizing your intentions. Consider now the tale of Donald Griffin, whose manuscript faced 12 rejections. With each no, he polished his words further until rejection transformed into a trusted teacher. Rather than curse the closed doors, he began to bow to them, understanding that each not yet carried him closer to yes. When the 13th publisher embraced his work, the book found its perfect home, reaching precisely those who needed its message. Your own journey mirrors these ancient truths. What appears as hardship serves as the chisel shaping your masterpiece. The universe never works against you. It works to align you with your highest good. The law of attraction responds not just to your wishes, but to your clarity. Through contrast, your desires gain definition. Through challenges, your vision sharpens. Through apparent setbacks, your path becomes more certain. Sacred practice. When disappointment approaches, resist the urge to turn away. Instead, welcome it as an old teacher. Place your hand upon your heart and speak these words. I acknowledge this moment as it is. Through this contrast, my path grows clearer. Feel the shift as resistance melts into acceptance, knowing that within every no lies the seed of a greater yes. Chapter 18. Compassion as Power. In the mountains lived a healer named Caitlin, who opened her home to all who sought guidance. Day after day, she listened to sorrows until exhaustion crept into her bones. Her compassion knew no limits, and therein lay both gift and burden. When villagers knocked at midnight with minor concerns, she rose without complaint. When neighbors lingered for hours sharing troubles, she postponed her own needs. Yet the universe whispered wisdom through her fatigue. As she tended her garden one morning, watching how the flowers naturally turned toward sun while rooted firmly in earth, understanding dawned. True empathy required both openness and boundaries, like the flower's delicate balance of reaching up while staying grounded. This revelation transformed her practice. She began setting clear hours for healing work, while preserving sacred time for renewal. Rather than diminishing her ability to help others, these loving limits enhanced it. Her energy flowed more purely, her insights grew sharper, and those she helped found deeper healing in the contained space she created. In a distant marketplace, a merchant named Tadg struggled with late payments from his regular customers. Their stories of hardship touched his heart, yet his own family's needs weighed heavily. One morning, watching how the river flowed around rocks without losing its course, he understood. The river neither forced its way nor ceased its journey. It simply found new paths forward. Todd began forgiving late fees while maintaining clear agreements. He spoke with gentle firmness about payment schedules while acknowledging his customers' challenges. To his amazement, not only did payments become more regular, but those he had shown grace to began sending new customers his way. His compassion, when balanced with respect for natural boundaries, multiplied prosperity for all. These tales mirror the eternal truth. Contrast shapes wisdom. Through experiencing both giving and receiving, both yes and no, we learn the sacred dance of boundaries. Like the ocean meeting the shore, we discover where to flow and where to hold firm. Ancient practice. Sit quietly and imagine someone's pain as a wind passing through your heart space. Let it flow through without resistance. Yet notice how your heart naturally knows its own shape and limits. Feel how this gentle allowing, paired with clear boundaries, creates true healing. Practice this whenever judgment arises, remembering that understanding others' struggles need not mean losing yourself. Chapter 19. Seeing with Soul Eyes. In a small cottage at the edge of town, Una Hayes moved through her morning routine, the same as countless days before. Steam rose from her teacup, dancing in spirals before vanishing. Usually, she would rush past such moments, but today something shifted in her perception. The steam became a fleeting masterpiece, each curl unique and precious in its brief existence. The chip in her favorite mug revealed itself not as a flaw, but as a mark of faithful service, telling stories of 1,000 mornings. The veil between ordinary and extraordinary dissolved as Una began seeing with new eyes. Dust motes caught in sunbeams transformed into constellations. The uneven boards of her wooden floor became a map of time's patient artistry. Even the cobweb in the corner sparkled like delicate lace, its maker a master weaver of geometric precision. Through this deepening awareness, Una discovered that perfection dwelled not in flawlessness, but in the complete acceptance of what is. Each imperfection held its own poetry. The scratch on the table, the worn spot on the chair, the slightly crooked painting on the wall. These weren't flaws to be fixed, but signatures of life being fully lived. In another part of town, Cillian Riley earned his living washing windows. Day after day he would climb his ladder, bucket and cloth in hand. But something changed when he began viewing his work as more than mere labor. Each sweep of his cloth became a meditation, each drop of water a prism of possibility. The smudges he cleaned weren't interruptions but opportunities for restoration. As he worked, Cillian noticed how light played differently through each pane of glass. Some days the windows reflected clouds like mirrors of the divine. Other times they seemed to glow from within, transforming ordinary rooms into sacred spaces. He realized that every window told its own story, of rain and sun, of seasons passing, of human hands touching glass. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and choose something you see every day, a doorknob, a house plant, or even a crack in the wall. Sit with it in silence for 1 full minute. Let your eyes trace its details as if beholding it for the first time. Notice textures, shadows, subtle variations in color. Feel wonder arise as the commonplace reveals its hidden magnificence. In this practice, you open the door to seeing divine artistry in all things, great and small. Chapter 20. The Sacred Pause. In the bustling heart of a thriving wellness center, Nora Flaherty moved like perpetual motion, her healing hands never still. From sunrise to sunset, she poured energy into others, massaging away pain, soothing troubled minds, carrying burdens not her own. Her reputation for helping grew until the line at her door seemed endless. Yet with each passing day, her own light dimmed, though she failed to notice the shadows creeping in. Only when exhaustion finally forced her still did wisdom arrive. In the unexpected quiet of her empty treatment room, she discovered a truth as old as time itself. The well must refill to continue giving. As she allowed herself to rest, something miraculous occurred. Her practice flourished, not despite her absence, but because of it. When she returned renewed, clients remarked that her touch carried deeper healing. She had learned that pausing was not selfishness, but sacred restoration. Within the rhythm of giving and receiving lay ancient knowledge. Nature itself pulses between action and rest. The ocean draws back before rushing forward. Flowers close before blooming anew, and even the sun sets to rise again with greater radiance. Colin Finnegan discovered this same truth in a different way. After decades of chasing success through constant motion, he found himself drawn to his back porch one evening. Instead of checking emails or making calls, he simply watched the sun paint the sky in impossible colors. In that peaceful surrender, inspiration began to whisper, not with the harsh demands of ambition, but with gentle wisdom that would transform his approach to business and life. As shadows lengthened and stars emerged, clarity arrived without effort. The solutions he had struggled to force revealed themselves naturally, like dewdrops appearing at dawn. His newfound practice of sunset meditation became a daily reminder that wisdom flows most freely through stillness. Ancient practice. When urgency threatens to overwhelm, find a quiet space. Draw breath deeply, counting each blessing that comes to mind. Continue until you feel peace replace pressure. Let this practice guide you whenever the world demands too much speed. Remember that in stillness lies the seed of all creation. Part 3. The Radiant Return. Chapter 21. Living as Light. In a quaint bookstore tucked away on a quiet street, Riley McCarthy arranged volumes with careful precision, her movements invisible to the scattered browsers. Day after day she watched others receive attention, praise, and recognition while she remained in the shadows. Her work, though impeccable, seemed to dissolve into the background like mist at dawn. One morning, as sunlight streamed through the dusty windows, she paused between the shelves. Instead of forcing visibility, she closed her eyes and imagined warmth blooming in her chest, a soft golden glow that expanded with each breath. This light, she realized, needed no permission to shine. As it filled her being, something shifted in the store's atmosphere. Customers began lingering near her section, drawn not by effort, but by an inexplicable sense of peace. They asked her opinion on books, shared stories of their own, and returned specifically seeking her guidance. The change came not from what she did, but from who she had become, a vessel of light rather than a seeker of validation. Across town, Kieran Kennedy shouldered his mailbag with decades of practice. While others saw his route as mundane, he had discovered a secret alchemy in his daily rounds. Each morning, before sorting letters, he took a moment to envision every envelope suffused with goodwill. As his hands touched each piece of mail, he imbued them with silent blessings for their recipients. Soon his route transformed. Where once there had been hurried exchanges, now conversations blossomed. Children waited at windows for his approach, and elderly residents saved their best stories for his arrival. Without speaking of it, he had turned simple paper into vessels of joy, carrying not just information, but invisible threads of connection through the community. Through these two souls, we glimpse a profound truth. Radiance requires no external permission. When you align with the light within, the outer world naturally responds. Your presence becomes a lamp, not because you demand attention, but because you remember your inherent luminosity. The ancient practice of light. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Breathe deeply and imagine a soft golden light awakening in your heart center. With each breath, allow this warmth to expand, filling your body, extending beyond your skin, touching everything in your vicinity with gentle blessing. Feel yourself not as someone seeking light, but as light itself, naturally illuminating all you encounter. Let this radiance flow without effort or agenda, simply blessing all it touches with its natural warmth. Chapter 22. The Harmony of Giving. There was once a flower seller named Tara Malone who understood a truth most overlook, that light multiplies when shared. Each morning she would place an extra bloom in every bouquet without charging more, whispering a blessing into each petal. Her customers never knew of these secret gifts, yet somehow their gardens flourished with unusual vigor. The universe operates through an ancient principle. What flows through you flows to you. As you align with this sacred law, abundance naturally follows, not as reward, but as resonance. Each act of genuine giving attunes your spirit to life's natural state of plenty. When you give without expectation of return, you tap into the infinite stream of universal energy. This is not mere metaphor, but the very foundation of creation's dance. The moment you release attachment to outcomes, you become a clear channel through which blessings flow unimpeded. Consider the tale of Eamon Hanley, a gifted musician who felt called to share his art freely. Though his savings were modest, he began offering free music lessons to children whose families couldn't afford them. He taught simply because music lived in his heart and yearned to be shared. Within months, unexpected doors began opening, invitations to perform, opportunities to compose, connections that transformed his career. Yet these rewards came precisely because he wasn't seeking them. The secret lies in understanding that generosity is not about the size of the gift, but the purity of intention. When you give from genuine love, you align with the universe's fundamental nature. This alignment naturally attracts more opportunities for giving and receiving, creating an endless cycle of abundance. You need not make grand gestures. The smallest act of kindness offered with pure intent ripples outward in ways you cannot see. A sincere smile, a moment of patience, an unexpected courtesy. These seemingly tiny gifts alter the fabric of reality more powerfully than forced charity or calculated giving. Ancient practice. Find one opportunity today to offer kindness without announcement or expectation. It might be as simple as leaving an anonymous note of encouragement, or quietly completing a task that would help another. After giving, take a moment to close your eyes and feel the warmth of that action resonating through the universal field. Then release it completely, trusting that its echo will dance through creation in perfect harmony. Chapter 23. Co-creating with the Divine. In the heart of a bustling village lived a woman named Rosemary Kearney, whose prayers once echoed with desperate pleas. Night after night, she would kneel by her windowsill, hands clasped tightly, begging the universe for answers. Yet her words seemed to dissolve into the darkness, leaving only hollow silence in return. until one moonlit evening, when she noticed how the garden flowers turned naturally toward starlight without strain or struggle. In that moment, understanding blossomed within her heart. Prayer was never meant to be a desperate cry, but a gentle dance of co-creation with the divine. When you approach the universe as partner rather than petitioner, everything shifts. Your words become seeds planted in fertile soil, rather than coins tossed into an endless well. The very nature of prayer transforms from request to relationship, from asking to allowing, from desperation to divine dialogue. Through this understanding, you begin to recognize that the universe already holds your highest good in sacred trust. It requires not your begging, but your belief, not your fears, but your faith, not your worry, but your willingness to walk in partnership with the greater wisdom that guides all things. Consider how Brendan Sullivan discovered this truth through his morning ritual. Each dawn, he would sit in his small study, composing his intentions not as solitary wishes, but as harmonious duets with the divine. He understood that just as music requires both instrument and musician, manifestation flows through the partnership between human heart and universal consciousness. Instead of forcing his will upon the day, Brendan would gently align his desires with the natural rhythm of life. He felt the cosmos keeping time with his intentions, matching his energy with synchronized grace. His prayers became songs of possibility, and the universe responded with perfect harmony. This ancient wisdom whispers still, when you release the need to control outcomes, you open yourself to co-creating with forces far greater than yourself. Your role is not to demand, but to dance, not to plead, but to participate in the unfolding miracle of life. The universe awaits your partnership. It longs to move in concert with your highest aspirations. When you approach prayer as collaboration rather than supplication, you step into your natural role as co-creator of your experience. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment as dawn breaks or dusk settles. Whisper your heart's desires to the waiting sky, then close your eyes and listen deeply. Feel the subtle reassurance beating within, the cosmic confirmation that you are never alone in your creating. This is the true essence of prayer, not speaking into void, but joining in sacred partnership with the infinite intelligence that breathes through all things. Chapter 24. The Gentle Authority of Love. In ancient times, those who mastered creation's mysteries understood a truth you are now ready to embrace. Prayer flows as partnership, not petition. The difference lies as subtle as morning mist, yet holds power vast as oceans. You have been taught to pray as though separated from divine presence, to plead, to bargain, to beg. Yet the highest truth whispers that you already dance in perfect unity with universal forces. Your every breath moves in harmony with cosmic tides. Prayer simply awakens you to this eternal connection. Watch how this wisdom unfolds through those who have walked this path before you. Eileen Walsh built her life on cold reason, measuring success through spreadsheets and statistics. Her prayers emerged as carefully calculated proposals, each word weighed for maximum impact. Yet abundance eluded her precisely planned grasp. Then love softened her edges. Through caring for her elderly mother, Eileen discovered that gentle presence accomplished more than rigid control. Her prayers transformed from demands into loving conversations, She learned to listen in the spaces between words, to feel guidance flowing naturally as breath. Soon solutions appeared with elegant ease, as though the universe had always held them in trust, waiting for her to soften enough to receive. This same principle reveals itself through Fergus Sheehan's story. Where harsh words once echoed through his home, he chose to meet tension with tender silence. Rather than forcing solutions, he simply sat with his family in peaceful presence. Gradually, the atmosphere shifted. His children spoke more openly, his wife's smile returned, joy crept back on quiet feet. Without pushing or planning, harmony restored itself through his willingness to hold space with love. These stories illuminate the deeper nature of co-creation. The universe does not require your striving, only your alignment. When you release the need to orchestrate outcomes, divine intelligence works through you with natural grace. Prayer becomes not a reaching out, but a settling in, a recognition of the sacred partnership that has always existed between your consciousness and universal mind. The practice. In moments of uncertainty or challenge, pause and choose tenderness as your first response. Rather than rushing to fix or force, simply hold space with gentle awareness. Notice how circumstances begin to soften naturally, as though responding to an unspoken invitation. This simple practice reveals the ever-present flow of grace awaiting your recognition. Chapter 25. The Miracle Attitude. Long ago in a seaside village, a woman named Bridget O'Rourke lived in a small cottage overlooking the harbor. Each morning, she would stand at her window, watching fishing boats depart while holding a curious belief that something wonderful awaited discovery. Not through desperate wishing, but through calm, unwavering expectation. On days when storm clouds gathered, Bridget maintained her practice of anticipating good fortune. Where others saw omens of misfortune, she perceived the prelude to blessing. Soon the most remarkable coincidences began occurring. A letter arrived containing forgotten inheritance. A chance encounter led to romance. Even lost treasures from her childhood mysteriously resurfaced. The universe, it seemed, could not help but align with her sustained expectation of grace. Her life transformed not through force or strategy, but through the magnetic power of her certainty that good things naturally flowed her way. In the heart of the city dwelled Sean Fitzgerald, who discovered this same truth through a different door. One ordinary Tuesday, he woke with an extraordinary thought. What if every moment held a gift waiting to be unwrapped? He began greeting each hour as though it carried a marvel meant just for him. To his amazement, reality reshaped itself to match his vision. The most mundane errands yielded surprising joy. A traffic delay led to a life-changing conversation. A wrong turn revealed his future home. By expecting wonder, he became a magnet for miracles. The law works this way. What you anticipate with steady faith must manifest. Not through desperate pleading or elaborate ritual, but through the simple power of aligned expectation. When you greet life as a friendly force eager to delight you, it cannot help but respond in kind. Your thoughts are like seeds planted in fertile soil. Plant expectation of goodness, and goodness grows. Plant anticipation of divine timing, and perfect timing unfolds. The universe mirrors back whatever you hold as truth in your heart. This ancient wisdom speaks through every success story. Those who expect good find it at every turn. Those who greet each day as a gift discover treasures hidden in plain sight. Your expectation creates an energetic blueprint that life follows faithfully. Sacred practice. Upon waking each morning, before your feet touch the floor, smile gently and whisper to the universe, "Surprise me kindly today." Feel the warmth of anticipation in your heart. Trust that something wonderful is already in motion, already making its way to you. This simple ritual activates the law of expectation, transforming your day into a journey of delightful discovery. Chapter 26. The Infinite Now. In the quiet dawn of an ordinary morning, a merchant named Liam Donnelly rushed through his morning ritual, crossing off items on an endless list. His mind raced ahead to future moments while the present slipped past unnoticed. Each achievement felt hollow, for his thoughts already dwelled 3 steps beyond completion. Yet in a moment of grace, as sunlight painted his office wall, Liam noticed dust motes dancing in the golden beam. Time seemed to pause as he watched their gentle descent. In that suspended moment, he realized his constant reaching toward tomorrow had blinded him to the wealth already flowing through his life. From that day forward, Liam released his grip on rigid schedules. Rather than forcing outcomes, he learned to breathe with the natural rhythm of events. Projects that once felt like battles now unfolded with surprising ease. Clients sensed his newfound peace and responded in kind. His business flourished, not through relentless pursuit, but through alignment with life's organic timing. The universe speaks in the language of now. When you cease grasping at tomorrow, you discover that abundance already surrounds you. Your task is not to chase what seems distant, but to open your eyes to what quietly awaits recognition. In a small bookshop across town, Maeve O'Sullivan faced a similar awakening. For years, she had pushed herself to meet self-imposed publishing deadlines, believing creativity required constant pressure. Her writing felt mechanical, each word extracted rather than inspired. One afternoon, as rain tapped gently against her window, Maeve set aside her rigid schedule. She began writing simply for the joy of expression, allowing words to flow at their natural pace. To her amazement, stories emerged with greater depth and beauty than ever before. Her readers felt the difference. Where once they found clever plots, now they discovered soul-touching truth. When you release the need to control time, you tap into the timeless. The eternal now holds all possibility, all potential, all power. Your dreams manifest not through force, but through harmony with the present moment's perfect unfolding. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and gently place 2 fingers upon your wrist. Feel your pulse, steady, constant, eternal. This rhythm has carried you since before your first breath. Each beat connects you to the vast ocean of now, where everything you seek already exists. Let your breath synchronize with this primal tempo. Recognize that just as your heart knows its perfect timing, so too does the universe pulse with the rhythm of your destined good. All you desire moves toward you in this same sacred cadence. Trust the timing. Trust the flow. Trust the eternal now. Chapter 27. The Circle of Blessing. In a bustling marketplace where hurried footsteps echoed against worn cobblestones, Declan O'Rourke maintained his daily practice. Behind his modest stall of fresh vegetables, he watched each passerby with gentle attention. Rather than seeing mere customers, he recognized souls on their own sacred journeys. For each person who paused at his stand, whether they purchased or not, he offered a silent prayer of well-being. "May abundance find you," he would think, as a weary mother counted coins. "May your burden lighten," as an elderly man shuffled past. What began as simple kindness transformed his entire experience. The more blessings he bestowed, the lighter his own heart grew. His previous concerns about dwindling savings and mounting bills mysteriously resolved themselves. Without conscious effort, his business flourished, yet he knew the true abundance lay in the practice itself. The universe's response came not in dramatic gestures, but in quiet synchronicities. Bills arrived just as unexpected income appeared. Solutions emerged before problems fully formed. His own healing flowed naturally from healing wished for others. In another part of town, Siobhan Kelly discovered a similar truth. During her morning walks, she began offering silent affirmations to each stranger she encountered. "You are loved," she would think to one. "You are worthy," to another. "Your path is blessed," to a third. These silent gifts required nothing from their recipients, yet their effects rippled outward in surprising ways. Soon, neighbors who had never spoken began greeting each other. Small kindnesses multiplied throughout the street. Gardens bloomed more vibrantly, and laughter echoed more frequently. Without seeking recognition or reward, Siobhan had helped weave a stronger fabric of community simply through her quiet intentions. The power lay not in the specific words, but in the genuine wish for others' well-being. Each blessing sent outward returned threefold, not through magical thinking, but through the natural law of energy's flow. What flows out must flow back. Ancient practice. As you move through your day, pause whenever you encounter another soul. Send them this silent blessing. May you be at peace. No words need be spoken aloud. Simply hold this intention in your heart as your eyes meet theirs, even for a moment. Watch how this practice transforms not just your perception, but the very field of energy around you. Chapter 28. Becoming the Answer. In the heart of an ancient village, a humble woodcarver named Connor Murphy spent years waiting for divine intervention. Each morning, he would kneel before his workbench, pleading for guidance, for signs, for miracles to manifest in his life. His prayers echoed through empty rooms, while unfinished carvings gathered dust, waiting for inspiration he believed must come from beyond. One dawn, as sunlight painted his workshop in gold, Connor noticed how his hands had unconsciously begun shaping wood while his mind wandered. The figure emerging beneath his fingers held more beauty than any piece he had consciously planned. In that moment, understanding blossomed. The divine force he sought had always flowed through his own choices, his own actions, his own being. The realization transformed his approach to life. Instead of beseeching external forces, he began acting as a channel for the sacred energy within. His carvings took on new life, each piece reflecting the marriage of human effort and divine inspiration. People who acquired his works spoke of feeling blessed, though Connor knew the true blessing lay in discovering his role as co-creator with the universe. In a neighboring village, Nora Flaherty faced similar wisdom through different circumstances. Her days had been filled with complaints about her flower shop's location. her competitors' advantages, her customers' demands. Each grievance seemed to breed more problems until her garden appeared to wither under the weight of her words. Then one morning, rather than voicing her usual protests, she chose to act with deliberate kindness. She left fresh bouquets at her elderly neighbors' doorsteps. She offered gardening advice freely to competing shops. She listened to customers' stories with genuine interest rather than impatience. Within weeks, solutions began appearing as naturally as flowers turning toward sunlight. A better shop location became available through one of the elderly neighbors she had helped. The competing shops began sending overflow orders her way. Customers brought friends, drawn by the warmth they felt in her presence. Through Connor and Nora's experiences, a timeless truth emerges. The universe doesn't respond to passive waiting or complaints, but to conscious action aligned with divine purpose. You are not separate from the power you seek. Each choice, each gesture, each moment of awareness is an opportunity to manifest grace through your own being. The sacred practice. Find a quiet moment each morning. Place your hand upon your heart and speak inwardly. I am part of every miracle unfolding. Let this truth guide your actions throughout the day, knowing that divine power flows through your choices, your words, your presence. The mysteries you seek are already expressing through you. Chapter 29. Mastery through Grace. Let silence be your guide as you uncover one of life's most sacred mysteries, that divine power moves through your own hands, your own heart, your own choices. The universe does not withhold its gifts until you prove worthy through strain and struggle. Instead, it waits patiently for you to recognize that you are already the answer you seek. Consider how a flower blooms, not through force or desperate reaching, but through natural unfoldment in harmony with the sun. This same principle governs all creation. Patrick O'Connell discovered this truth only after years of equating progress with strain. Each day he would arrive at his workshop before dawn, muscles tense with determination to prove his worth through endless toil. Yet the more he pushed, the more his work felt hollow, lacking the very essence he sought to capture. It was only when illness forced him to rest that grace revealed its gentle lesson. Unable to maintain his rigid schedule, Patrick had no choice but to surrender. In that space of acceptance, he found his hands moving with a new lightness, guided by an inner wisdom that had always been present beneath the noise of striving. His work transformed not through added effort, but through allowing what was natural to emerge. Aweef Murphy's journey mirrors this teaching. For years she approached her art like a battle to be won, pushing through creative blocks with sheer force of will. Her studio became a place of tension rather than joy. Then one morning, she simply stopped pushing. She began painting like a child again, with curiosity rather than demand, with play rather than pressure. To her amazement, inspiration flowed more abundantly than ever before. The masterpieces she had struggled to force now emerged with ease, as if they had simply been waiting for her to get out of her own way. The universe whispers this truth in countless ways. Mastery lies not in strain, but in surrender to the natural flow of life moving through you. Your role is not to generate power through force, but to align with the infinite power already expressing itself through your being. When you release the need to prove yourself through struggle, you discover strength in softness, wisdom in ease. Practice. Find a quiet moment and bring to mind one self-criticism that has become habitual. Perhaps it's the belief that you must struggle to succeed, or that your worth must be earned through strain. Now, with gentle awareness, release this judgment and replace it with a soft acknowledgement of how far you've come. Feel the shift from tension to ease, from pushing to allowing. In this simple act of self-compassion, you open to the grace that has always been waiting to flow through you. Chapter 30. The Return Home. In the depths of every seeking heart lies a truth so simple it often escapes notice: that which you pursue has never left you. The pathway to enlightenment leads not to distant shores, but to the center of your own being, where peace has waited patiently for your return. Brendan Sullivan spent years searching sacred sites and ancient temples, convinced that wisdom dwelled in faraway places. He studied with masters, practiced esoteric techniques, and collected teachings like precious gems. Yet something remained elusive, always just beyond reach. It was only when his funds ran dry and he was forced to return to his small cottage that understanding dawned. Sitting in his garden one morning, watching sunlight dance through leaves, Brendan felt a profound shift. The peace he had sought across continents was present in the simple act of being. His search had not been in vain. It had taught him to recognize home when he finally arrived there. In that moment, he understood that alignment was not a destination, but a state of being, available wherever he stood. This same wisdom revealed itself to Deirdre O'Connell through an even more ordinary channel. Standing at her kitchen sink, hands immersed in warm water, she noticed how the afternoon light transformed soap bubbles into rainbow prisms. A sudden awareness washed over her. This moment, in all its simplicity, contained everything. Paradise was not a future achievement, but a present recognition. The steam rising from her sink became holy incense, the clink of plates a sacred bell. Deirdre realized she had been seeking completion while standing in its midst. Her daily rituals were not obstacles to enlightenment, but portals to it, each moment offering the gift of presence, of arrival, of home. These stories whisper an eternal truth. The journey ends where it began, in the quiet center of your own heart. External seeking serves its purpose, but ultimately leads you back to yourself, where peace has always resided. Like a bird circling home after long migration, your soul recognizes the roost it never truly left. Practice. Find a quiet space and gently close your eyes. Let your breath settle into its natural rhythm. Then, with soft intention, whisper these words: I am home within myself. Feel how this truth resonates in your body, in your heart. Let gratitude arise naturally, like sunrise after night, illuminating the understanding that you have always been what you sought. Part 4. The Everlasting Expansion. Chapter 31. The Awakening Revisited. In the luminous spaces between moments of arrival lie infinite new beginnings. This truth reveals itself most clearly in those precious instances when you believe you've reached your destination, only to discover it was merely a doorway to greater understanding. Consider the tale of Delia Kavanagh, who walked the misty paths of her garden each morning as dawn painted the sky. She had achieved what many would call success: inner peace, material comfort, loving relationships. Yet one particular morning, as golden light filtered through dancing leaves, she felt something extraordinary stir within her consciousness. This wasn't the restless urge of someone lacking fulfillment, but rather an elegant awakening to the eternal nature of growth itself. Each dewdrop catching light seemed to whisper secrets of endless unfolding. What she had thought was mastery revealed itself as beautiful preparation for deeper mysteries still waiting to be explored. The realization didn't diminish her present contentment, it enhanced it. Like a flower continuously opening new petals to the sun, she understood that enlightenment wasn't a final destination, but an ever-expanding spiral of awareness. Each layer of understanding simply revealed more exquisite layers waiting beneath. This wisdom found different expression through Morgan Tierney, whose nighttime vision changed everything. In his dream, he stood before a series of doors, each one opening to reveal another more beautiful than the last. As he crossed each threshold, instead of feeling overwhelmed by endless progression, joy bubbled up from his core and escaped as pure laughter. Upon waking, Morgan carried this lightness with him. His accomplishments no longer felt like endpoints to defend, but rather launching pads into greater possibilities. He saw how every milestone contained seeds of the next evolution, how each summit offered views of higher peaks waiting to be explored. These stories reflect an essential truth about spiritual growth. It is not a race to be won, but a dance to be enjoyed. Each step of mastery opens your eyes to see further, attune more finely, love more deeply. The journey never ends, because consciousness itself is infinite, forever inviting you into more expansive versions of yourself. Practice. When satisfaction settles in your heart and you feel you've reached a cherished goal, gently whisper to yourself, "There is more light waiting." Let this thought fill you not with pressure to achieve, but with the playful anticipation of a child discovering new wonders. Feel how this perspective transforms the very nature of growth from burden to adventure, from striving to joyful becoming. Chapter 32. The Horizon of Wonder. In the soft light of dawn, where sea meets sky in ancient conversation, Seamus Keefe stands at the edge of the Atlantic marsh. His eyes trace the intricate patterns of water weaving through tall grass, each channel a sacred mystery waiting to be acknowledged. For years he walked this same path, seeing only wet earth and tangled vegetation. But this morning, something shifts in his perception. As he observes a single blade of marsh grass dancing in the breeze, questions bloom within him like flowers opening to first light. How does this delicate stem know exactly how to bend without breaking? What invisible force orchestrates the precise timing of each tide? His curiosity flows outward like ripples on still water, and with each wondering thought, the world around him seems to brighten and expand. The more Seamus allows himself to be moved by these simple mysteries, the more life responds with unexpected gifts. A rare bird lands nearby, its feathers catching sunlight in ways he's never noticed before. The morning air carries hints of salt and sage that feel like nature's intimate secrets shared just with him. His questions become prayers, and the universe answers in the language of synchronicity. Then there is Nuala Sheridan, who discovers infinity in the ordinary one rainy afternoon. Sitting by her kitchen window, she notices raindrops trailing down the glass. Instead of seeing mere water, she perceives each droplet as a miniature cosmos in motion. One drop absorbs another, creating new patterns of light and shadow. Some drops race, others meander, each following an unseen but perfect choreography. The longer Nuala watches, the more she realizes that these tiny water worlds mirror the greater movements of life itself, the merging and parting, the flowing and transforming. Her fascination becomes a form of meditation, a way of keeping her connection to life's magic alive and vibrant. Through her enchanted gaze, even the simplest phenomena reveal layers of meaning and beauty previously unseen. Ancient practice of wonder. Choose one ordinary object or occurrence in your immediate surroundings. It might be the way light falls across your floor, the spiral pattern in a shell, or the steam rising from your tea. Spend exactly 1 minute observing it with complete attention, as if you've never seen anything like it before. Let your eyes soften and your mind open to its hidden qualities. Notice how this deliberate appreciation begins to unveil beauty in what you once overlooked. This practice attunes your spirit to the subtle marvels constantly unfolding around you, training your soul in the art of wonder. Chapter 33. The Music of the Field. In the quiet dawn hours, when the world still whispers its secrets, Aidan Lennon discovers a truth that has waited patiently for his recognition. Between each breath, in the spaces where thoughts pause, he begins to hear it, the subtle symphony of existence itself. At first it seems like chance, these moments when traffic sounds blend perfectly with birdsong, when the rustle of leaves harmonizes with distant church bells. But as days pass, he realizes these are not coincidences, but confirmations. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, conducts an eternal orchestra. Every moment carries its own melody, every circumstance its own rhythm. Aidan learns to attune himself to this cosmic composition, finding that when his inner state matches the frequency of peace, life arranges itself with musical precision. His business meetings flow with unexpected grace, conversations resolve in perfect timing, and opportunities arrive like well-timed crescendos. The lesson reveals itself with crystalline clarity. Harmony manifests not through force, but through alignment. Just as a violin string must be neither too taut nor too loose to produce its true note, your energy must find its natural resonance with the universal flow. This is the secret frequency where miracles become mundane, where synchronicity replaces struggle. Tessie Brogan embodies this wisdom in her own quiet way. In her small guest house, she hums ancient melodies while folding fresh linens, her contentment creating ripples through reality itself. She notices how guests begin arriving at exactly the right moments, how supplies replenish themselves just as needed, how even the weather seems to coordinate with her schedule. Without conscious effort, her gentle vibration attracts gentle circumstances. The humming becomes her meditation, a way of tuning herself to life's natural frequency. Small coincidences multiply. A canceled booking makes space for a traveler in urgent need of rest. A delayed delivery arrives precisely when most useful old friends visit on the very days she feels called to reconnect. Her week becomes a dance of synchronicity, each moment flowing perfectly into the next. These stories whisper an ageless truth. The universe responds not to what you demand, but to what you embody. When your inner song aligns with the cosmic melody, life cannot help but orchestrate beauty around you. This is not manifestation through might, but through musical resonance. Ancient practice. Tonight, close your eyes and imagine soft music pulsing through everything while gratitude keeps tempo. Let this harmony remind you that you are always part of life's grand symphony, every breath a note in an infinite song. Chapter 34. The Compassion Continuum. In a bustling marketplace, Eli Fitzgerald pauses at the sight of an elderly woman struggling with her packages. Without hesitation, he steps forward to assist. As he carries her bags, something shifts within him, a gentle warmth spreading through places that once felt hollow. The woman's grateful smile reflects more than mere appreciation. It mirrors a universal truth about the nature of giving. Through this simple act, Eli discovers that compassion operates like the bloodstream of existence itself. Each kindness offered cleanses both giver and receiver, nourishing the collective spirit that binds all beings. His own lingering sadness begins dissolving, replaced by an inexplicable lightness. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, reveals that healing often arrives through helping others heal. The deeper teaching emerges. Every act of kindness completes an invisible circuit in the cosmic web of connection. When you extend care to another, you simultaneously mend a thread in your own spiritual fabric. The flow of compassion knows no direction. It moves in perfect circles, blessing all it touches. Clarine Doyle embodies this wisdom when her sister calls, distraught over life's challenges. Instead of offering quick solutions or judgment, Clarine simply listens, holding space with gentle patience. As her sister's words tumble forth, something remarkable occurs. The very act of giving patience creates a field of peace that envelops them both. Clarine feels her own anxieties softening, while her sister finds clarity in being truly heard. Their shared moment illuminates an eternal truth. Kindness operates through spiritual law, not human logic. When you offer understanding to another, the universe responds by understanding you. When you hold space for someone's healing, your own wounds begin to breathe. This is not coincidence, but cosmic correspondence, the natural rhythm of soul connecting with soul. The ancient practice. When encountering anyone today, silently wish them steadiness and notice tranquility echo through you. This practice reveals how blessing others becomes its own reward, creating ripples of peace that return to their source. Chapter 35. The Infinite Conversation. Through unseen threads of divine correspondence, every moment weaves messages meant precisely for you. The signs appear in ways both subtle and unmistakable, as Cormac Hanrahan discovered during an ordinary Tuesday that transformed his understanding of universal dialogue. Walking through his neighborhood, Cormac noticed a peculiar pattern emerging. The same phrase, "trust the timing," appeared first on a discarded newspaper page catching the wind, then in a snippet of conversation floating from an open window, and finally emblazoned across a passing delivery van. Each repetition sent a shiver of recognition through him, as though the universe was gently tapping his shoulder, confirming his private morning meditation about patience. What began as coincidence revealed itself as conversation. The world around him had become a living oracle, responding to his deepest contemplations with perfect synchronicity. When doubt clouded his mind about a career decision, a child's chalk drawing on the sidewalk spelled out, "Leap now." As he questioned a relationship's direction, every song on his radio seemed to whisper guidance about love's timing. The universe speaks in symbols, sending its wisdom through the seemingly random details of daily life. This truth found beautiful expression through Kira Brophy's ritual by the sea. Each morning she would select smooth stones from the shore, inscribing them with words of encouragement before returning them to the waves. You are loved. Joy finds you. Peace flows. These messages traveled with the tides, arriving at the feet of strangers who needed their particular medicine. Months later, letters began appearing in the local paper, speaking of mysterious stone messages that arrived at moments of deep questioning. A grieving widow found love endures, written on a pebble the morning she felt most alone. A struggling artist discovered create boldly, just as he contemplated giving up his craft. Through Kira's simple practice, the sea itself became a messenger of hope, carrying comfort to shores unknown. The language of the universe requires no words to convey its perfect meaning. It speaks through patterns and synchronicities, through objects appearing at precise moments, through the quiet choreography of circumstance that feels too perfect to be chance. When you attune yourself to this subtle dialogue, life itself becomes a conversation with the divine. Ancient practice. As signs and synchronicities appear in your day, acknowledge them aloud with simple phrases like, "I see you," or "Message received." This verbal recognition strengthens the bond between your awareness and universal intelligence. Notice how this practice transforms coincidence into correspondence, making each moment feel like sacred dialogue between you and the infinite mind that orchestrates all creation. Chapter 36. The Renewal of Vision. When you pause to listen, you discover the universe speaks in whispers and winks, in recurring numbers and chance encounters that feel anything but random. Through this sacred dialogue, life reveals its deeper intelligence, showing you that every moment carries meaning when viewed through awakened eyes. In the gentle hours before dawn, Thomas Riley sat amongst his collection of business plans and goal sheets, each one bearing the weight of unfulfilled ambitions. His mind circled familiar paths of what should have been, until weariness led him to his meditation cushion. As his breath steadied, the mental static cleared. In that spacious silence, fresh possibilities emerged like stars appearing in a darkening sky. What he had labeled as failure transformed into preparation, each detour now revealed as necessary redirection. The universe speaks most clearly when the heart grows quiet. As Thomas released his grip on old dreams, new visions arose with natural ease. The very goals that once felt heavy with obligation now shimmered with renewed purpose, transformed by the simple act of letting go. Across town, Isla Carthy began her morning ritual of gratitude journaling. Her pen moved swiftly across empty, recording simple joys, morning sunlight on her kitchen wall, the scent of rain-washed earth, a kind word from a stranger. As appreciation flowed, something stirred in her memory. A long-forgotten dream surfaced, one she had tucked away thinking the timing wasn't right. Now it returned with crystal clarity, as if gratitude had cleared away the dust of doubt. This dream no longer felt like a distant wish, but a seed beginning to sprout, nourished by her renewed awareness. The practice handed down through ages whispers, close your eyes and wipe mental dust away by naming 3 blessings that still shine. This simple act of recognition clears the channel between you and the infinite, allowing fresh possibilities to emerge from the silence. Your gratitude becomes a lamp, illuminating paths previously hidden in shadow. Through stillness and appreciation, You align with the eternal conversation flowing between your heart and the universe. Each blessing acknowledged becomes a note in this sacred dialogue. Each moment of gratitude a step closer to your authentic path. Chapter 37. The Gravity of Grace. High in the mountains lived a merchant named Finnegan Hart, whose pride had grown as rigid as the ancient stones. Each morning he would count his grievances like coins, polishing old hurts until they gleamed with remembered pain. His heart had become a fortress built of should-haves and if-onlys, its walls thick with regret. One stormy evening, a traveler sought shelter at his door. Though Finnegan initially hesitated, something in the stranger's gentle eyes made him pause. Over shared bread and wine, the traveler spoke of life's flow like water, how it shapes stones not through force, but through persistent tenderness. As morning approached, the traveler left behind a simple gift, a smooth river stone worn perfect by years of current. This gesture awakened something in Finnegan. He began to notice how holding onto old hurts was like carrying stones uphill. The real weight wasn't in the burden, but in his refusal to set it down. Gradually, his grip on past mistakes loosened, and he discovered that mercy's pull was stronger than the gravity of guilt. In a village by the sea, May Keeley tended her small shop next door to her longtime rival's store. For years, bitter competition had soured their days until May could taste it in her morning tea. But watching children play between their shops one afternoon, she saw how they moved freely from one doorway to the other, unknowing of the invisible wall the adults had built. That evening, May baked her grandmother's soda bread and carried the warm loaf next door. "Perhaps," she said, placing it on the counter, "we've both been here long enough to be neighbors instead." The simple act of extending grace lifted a weight she hadn't known she carried. Her rival's surprised smile felt like sunshine after rain. As the days passed, May noticed that forgiving her neighbor had somehow forgiven something in herself. The shop's bell rang clearer, the morning light fell softer, and customers commented on the peaceful feeling that now filled both stores. Echoes of their stories remind us that the heaviest burdens we carry are often made of nothing but thought, and that grace arrives not in grand gestures, but in small moments of choosing kindness over being right. Sacred practice. When guilt visits, greet it warmly with, "I am still learning," and feel burden fall away of itself. Chapter 38. The Temple of the Everyday. The sacred whispers through the most ordinary moments, waiting to be discovered through the lens of reverence. In the quiet corners of daily life, divinity patiently beckons you to recognize its presence. In a small cottage by the sea, Deirdre Quinn stood at her kitchen sink, hands immersed in warm, soapy water. For years, she had rushed through dishes as a chore to be conquered. But one evening, as sunlight painted golden patterns across the bubbles, something shifted in her awareness. Each plate became an opportunity for blessing, each glass a vessel of sacred intention. As she gently cleansed each dish, she began seeing the water itself as holy, a purifying stream connecting her to ancient rituals of cleansing and renewal. The simple act transformed into a moving meditation. Through this newfound awareness, Deirdre discovered that holiness resided not in grand gestures, but in the quiet attention given to routine moments. Her kitchen became a sanctuary, each dish a prayer of gratitude, each movement an offering of presence. Across town, Callum Healy discovered similar wisdom through his morning ritual of sweeping the sidewalk before his shop. Where once he had seen only tedium, he began to envision the footsteps yet to come, each sweep of his broom blessing the path for future visitors. He imagined joy, prosperity, and peace settling like gentle dust upon his threshold, welcoming all who would cross it. With each stroke of his broom, Callum wove intentions of welcome and abundance into the very concrete beneath his feet. The simple act of cleaning became a ceremony of preparation, transforming mundane maintenance into sacred service. His awareness expanded beyond the physical act to embrace the deeper meaning of creating space for others to enter their own possibilities. These seemingly simple shifts in perception carried profound power. When you approach routine tasks with reverence, you open channels for grace to flow through every aspect of your existence. The divine does not distinguish between grand ceremony and humble housework. It simply responds to the quality of attention you bring to each moment. Practice. Select one routine activity today: washing dishes, sweeping floors, folding laundry, and transform it into sacred ceremony. Bring your full presence to each movement, each breath. Let your attention become like incense, sanctifying the ordinary until it reveals its hidden holiness. Through this practice, discover how the sacred has always resided in the simplest acts, waiting for your recognition to shine forth. Chapter 39. The Unfolding Future. In the depths of each moment, truth reveals itself not through force but through patient awareness. The ordinary transforms into sacred territory when approached with reverent attention. Picture Rafferty McMahon, whose days once ticked by in rigid schedules and carefully plotted milestones. He measured progress in checkboxes and deadlines, believing control would manifest his desires faster. But life had other plans, teaching him through gentle disruptions that nature follows its own divine timing. Like morning glories that open only when dawn whispers their name, or autumn leaves that release precisely when the wind calls, your path unfolds according to wisdom beyond calendars. The universe operates in cycles of natural emergence, not mechanical precision. Watch as Rafferty learns to release his grip on time. In his garden, he notices how flowers emerge at their perfect moment, some early, others late, each according to its own inner knowing. This simple observation shifts something profound within him. His shoulders soften. His breath deepens. He begins to trust the organic unfolding of his life's purpose. Then there is Auibi Cleary, who once plotted her success in 5-year plans. Her days were structured around achieving, striving, pushing against the natural flow, until she witnesses a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, neither early nor late, but exactly when ready. In that moment, she understands. No amount of willing or wishing could have rushed that butterfly's transformation. Auibi learns to work with life's timing rather than against it. She continues setting intentions but holds them lightly, like scattered seeds rather than carved commandments. To her amazement, opportunities and achievements begin arriving with an ease she never knew possible. What she once chased now flows to her naturally, each blessing appearing at the perfect moment. The universe operates through divine timing, a dance of synchronicity that knows when you are truly ready. Your role is not to force the timing, but to align with it, to trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what appears to be delay is often protection. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and settle comfortably. Take 3 deep centering breaths. Now imagine a lotus bud, closed and perfect. Watch it begin to open, each petal moving at its own natural pace. There is no hurry, no strain. Simply observe this gentle unfoldment, knowing your own destiny moves with this same divine timing. Stay with this visualization until you feel peace settle into your bones, understanding that all is unfolding exactly as it should. Chapter 40. The Blessing Beyond Words. In the soft hours before sunset, when light melts into gold across the waters, Tressa Mulligan finds herself drawn to the ocean's edge. She has carried gratitude in her heart before, but this moment opens something deeper, a thankfulness so vast it transcends the capacity of words to contain it. As waves whisper their eternal rhythm upon the shore, she recognizes that some experiences of grace can only be felt, never spoken. The ocean stretches before her like living light, each ripple a note in creation's symphony. Her chest expands with appreciation so profound that language falls away like autumn leaves, leaving only pure wonder in its wake. In this sacred silence, she discovers that the deepest gratitude needs no voice. It simply radiates from the soul like warmth from an eternal flame. Across the city, in a small chapel bathed in stained glass light, Donovan Keene kneels in prayer. He has recited countless prayers before, but today something shifts. His familiar words fade into stillness as overwhelming awe rises within. Tears gather and fall, each one carrying messages his tongue cannot form. In their gentle descent, these tears speak volumes, translating the wordless wonder of a heart touched by divine grace. Through his tears, Donovan realizes that true communion transcends language. His silence becomes more eloquent than any spoken praise, his tears more articulate than carefully crafted phrases. In this speechless offering, he finds a deeper connection, one that pulses with life beyond the boundary of words. Ancient practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, rest in the quiet sanctuary of gratitude. Do not try to form thoughts or sentences. Simply allow thankfulness to rise naturally like mist from a morning lake. Feel appreciation humming through your being until emotion itself becomes your prayer. In this wordless space, grace speaks its purest language, and the heart finds its truest voice. Part 5. The Eternal Harvest. Chapter 41. The Seed Within the Soul. The truth whispers itself to you in moments of profound stillness, just as Ronan Treacy discovered while tending his small garden one morning, not in the physical act of planting, but in the silent space between thoughts. His hands moved through soil as realization bloomed. Every dream already holds its completion within, like a flower folded inside its seed. For years, he had searched outside himself for signs and permissions, waiting for the universe to validate his aspirations. Yet, in that sacred moment of clarity, he understood. The dreamer and the dream arise together, inseparable as sunlight from dawn. The seeds of possibility do not arrive from distant stars. They germinate in the rich soil of your own consciousness, waiting only for the water of belief to quicken their growth. This wisdom finds its echo in the story of Maeve Claire Donovan, whose poetry lay dormant within her heart, like winter wheat beneath snow. For months she nurtured this quiet longing, not with forced effort, but with gentle attention. She did not demand verses bloom before their time, but held space for their eventual flowering. Then one night, as stars wheeled overhead and sleep remained distant, poetry poured through her like spring rain. Words arranged themselves with the natural grace of leaves unfurling, requiring no more effort than breathing requires thought. The universe plants no dreams without providing fertile ground for their growth. Your deepest longings are not random wishes, but sacred seeds already germinating within your soul. Each hope you carry contains its own fulfillment, waiting only for your recognition to begin its inevitable blossoming. Ancient practice. Take one longing from your heart, close your eyes, and feel it vibrating as though growth is already rustling beneath the surface of your awareness. Sense how this dream pulses with life force, not as a distant possibility, but as present potential already unfolding. Let your breath deepen into the knowing that what you seek seeks you, growing silently but surely, like a seed responding to spring's first warmth. Chapter 42. The Melody of Momentum. Within you lies the seed of every blessing waiting to unfold. The ancient wisdom reveals itself through the story of Kellen O'Driscoll, who walked the same path to work each morning until one day his feet chose a different rhythm. Instead of rushing, he matched his steps to his heartbeat, allowing each movement to flow naturally from inner guidance. As he walked, the world seemed to dance with him. Shop doors opened just as he approached. Friendly faces appeared at precisely the right moment. Even the traffic lights shifted to green in perfect synchronicity with his stride. Through this simple shift in awareness, Kellen discovered that motion itself creates magnetic fields of possibility. Each step, taken in harmony with inner wisdom, sets invisible wheels turning in the vast machinery of creation. This truth found its mirror in Fiona Rose Conway, who had carried a song in her heart for decades but never dared to let it out. The choir notice hung in her local cafe window for months, calling silently each time she passed. One ordinary Tuesday, something shifted within her. Not confidence exactly, but a surrender to the music that had always lived in her bones. The moment she joined the choir, life began orchestrating itself around her new rhythm. Opportunities appeared like notes in a familiar melody. A recording studio opened next door to her workplace. A cousin mentioned a friend seeking wedding singers. Even her daily tasks seemed to arrange themselves in musical patterns, flowing one into another with newfound grace. What Fiona Rose and Kellen both discovered was that the universe responds not to force, but to frequency. When you align your actions with the subtle promptings of your soul, you create ripples that travel far beyond your vision. Each step, each note, each choice made in harmony with your inner truth becomes a pebble dropped in the infinite pond of possibility. Ancient practice. As darkness settles tonight, find a quiet moment alone. Let your breath become song, humming softly whatever melody rises naturally from your heart. Feel how this simple vibration moves through you, carrying tomorrow's momentum in its wings. In this gentle resonance, you plant seeds of harmony that will blossom in ways yet unknown. Chapter 43. The Lantern of Knowing. In the quiet corners of an old Irish cottage, a weathered brass lantern passed from grandfather to grandson holds more than just flame. It carries wisdom's subtle glow. When Declan Walsh first received this inheritance, he saw only tarnished metal and clouded glass. But as evening shadows lengthened across his floor, he noticed how the lantern's soft light, created a path just far enough ahead to take the next step. Night after night, Declan would light the lantern, watching its gentle radiance illuminate only what was needed in the moment. He began to understand that life unfolds this way too, not in blinding revelation, but in soft glimmers that guide us forward one step at a time. The lantern taught him that certainty rarely precedes action. Instead, clarity emerges through movement itself. This truth found its echo in Sorcia Lillis, who had always relied on detailed plans and careful maps. One morning, she felt an inexplicable urge to take a different route to work. Following this quiet prompting led her to a cafe where she encountered exactly the person she needed to meet, though she hadn't known she needed the meeting until it occurred. Gradually, Sorcia learned to trust these subtle internal nudges. When choosing between opportunities, she would pause and sense which direction felt illuminated from within. Time and again, these gentle impulses guided her to perfect synchronicities, conversations that opened doors, chance encounters that solved problems, moments of connection that transformed her path. What both Declan and Sorcia discovered was that the universe speaks in whispers and glimmers. Just as a lantern's glow is enough to light the next few steps without revealing the entire journey, intuition offers guidance in gentle increments. The way forward becomes clear, not through forcing insight, but through trusting the soft light within. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Imagine a small, warm flame glowing steadily within your chest. Let this inner light guide your choices today, one gentle glimmer at a time. Trust that you need not see the entire path, only the next step before you. The wisdom of ages teaches that those who follow this inner lantern find their way home, even through the darkest night. Chapter 44. The Ocean of Receiving. In the soft glow of dawn, Aisling Burke rests on weathered planks of the pier, watching waves retreat and return in endless dance. Her reflection ripples in tide pools as understanding washes over her. Nature itself teaches the sacred rhythm of giving and receiving. For years, she poured herself out like water, serving others until depletion left her hollow. But the ocean before her demonstrates a deeper wisdom. The tide draws back, creating space to receive. Then it flows in again, bringing gifts of renewal. This ancient pattern reveals that receiving is not greed, but grace, a necessary part of life's perpetual motion. As Aisling absorbs this truth, her shoulders relax and her breath deepens. She sees how forcing constant output had disrupted her natural flow. When she begins honoring her own need to receive, miracles multiply effortlessly. Friends offer help she would have once refused. Opportunities arrive unsought. Her energy remains steady instead of depleted. The universe responds to her willingness to accept with increased abundance, like waves bringing treasures to shore. In a cottage by the sea, Dara Flynn discovers similar wisdom through simple gratitude. Each morning he sits in silence, focusing on the miracle of breath itself. As his lungs fill with air, he feels profound appreciation for this essential gift that sustains life. He realizes that every inhalation is an act of receiving, one the body performs naturally thousands of times each day. This humble practice transforms his entire relationship with abundance. As he gives thanks for air, he opens to receive on all levels. His art gallery thrives without strain. His relationships deepen. Even his garden, yields more bountifully. By acknowledging the wealth in each breath, he attunes to the infinite supply flowing through all of life. The ancient truth emerges. Receiving is not passive but powerful. It completes the circuit of creation's giving. Like the ocean's tides, like the rhythm of breath, it is essential to the symphony of existence. Practice. During your next breath, picture the ocean inhaling with you, and understand that receiving is creation breathing back. Chapter 45. The Crown of Continuance. Along a windswept hilltop, where earth meets endless sky, a truth unfolds that will transform your understanding of endings forever. Here, in this space between seasons, you discover that completion is merely an illusion, a doorway opening to greater expansion. Watch as Eamon Corrigan ascends the ancient path, his footsteps carrying him to wisdom waiting since time began. The setting sun bathes everything in golden light, and in this radiance he sees what you too must learn, that every perceived ending carries within it the seed of a new beginning. As he stands amid swaying grasses, awareness dawns like the first light of morning. Closure itself is but a threshold to deeper understanding. What appears to conclude simply sheds its former shape, emerging in wisdom's fresh garments. The circle turns, yet each rotation lifts consciousness higher, like a spiral staircase climbing toward heaven. In a garden touched by autumn's breath, Isla Mae Sheehan kneels in soil still warm from summer's memory. Her hands move with practiced grace as she plants one final rose before winter's arrival. Others might see futility in planting as frost approaches, but she recognizes the sacred timing. Through months of apparent dormancy, winter will stand guard over this tender offering, protecting the mystery of transformation until spring returns with its gift of renewal. Watch closely as seasons shift. The rose appears to fade, yet beneath the surface, its essence grows stronger. When spring's warmth returns, the same bloom emerges, carrying within its petals all the wisdom of winter's rest. This is not mere repetition, but revelation wearing familiar faces. The universe whispers this truth through every cycle. Nothing truly ends. Each completion is a gateway to greater becoming. The path you walk is not a line but a spiral, returning to similar points with expanded awareness. Every ending you encounter is life's invitation to begin again with deeper understanding. Tonight, as stars emerge to paint the sky with possibility, whisper softly to yourself, "Nothing is over, only evolving." Let these words sink into your being like moonlight on still water. Carry this gentle knowing into each dawn that follows, understanding that every sunset holds tomorrow's light within its farewell. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Looking back across the path you've walked through these, you now understand that every step led not outward but inward, back to truths your soul has always known. Each teaching, whether whispered through parables or illuminated through practice, served to awaken what was sleeping within you. Remember how the journey began, with that first spark of wondering if life might hold more magic than you'd been taught to see. Through stories of ordinary people discovering extraordinary power, you recognized pieces of your own potential reflected back. Those Irish names carried universal longings, their experiences echoing ancient wisdom dressed in modern moments. You've learned that manifestation requires no force, only alignment with what already flows. The universe does not need convincing of your worth. It waits only for your acceptance of its constant offering. Every blessing arrives not through chase, but through allowing, not through pleading, but through peaceful knowing. What seemed like separate lessons about faith, surrender, gratitude, presence, now reveal themselves as facets of one central truth. You and the divine were never truly apart. What you sought was seeking you. What you prayed for was already praying through you. The power you reached for was always reaching back. These teachings will continue to unfold within you, deepening with each remembrance. Every story you encountered served as a mirror, reflecting back your own divine nature. The characters who found their way through doubt, fear, and limitation demonstrated the path that your own awakening would follow. As you close these, know that you are not ending, but expanding. The conversation between your heart and the infinite continues, moment by moment, breath by breath. You have remembered who you are, a conscious creator in loving dialogue with creation itself. Carry forward this knowing. Every miracle begins with recognition of what already is. Your journey continues, but with deeper trust in the light that has always lived within you.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.